Now, reports say ISIL has sold 42 Iraqi Izadi women kidnapped last year to its affiliates in eastern Syria. The opposition-affiliated Observatory for Human Rights says the women were sold as, quote, slaves in Syria's Deir ez-Zor province. It says some of the women were abducted with their children. The fate of the children is not clear. The women were reportedly captured in the Sinjar area of Iraq last year after Takfiri terrorists massacred Izadi Kurds minority there. ISIL reportedly runs frequent slave markets in the areas it overruns, selling women as sex slaves. Joining us now via Skype from Baghdad is Muwafaq al-Rabai. He's a former Iraqi national security advisor. Many thanks for joining us here on Press Time, Mr. Rabai. Now, this story right now regarding the selling of 42 Iraqi Izadi women into slavery just goes to show the brutality that ISIL represents today. What do you make of it?
It's disgusting. It's appalling. I can't describe it in the modern world terminology. They're taking us to the archaic, to the Stone Age. The extent of the human violation, human right violation in the areas they are running is unbelievable, undescribable. It's really revolting. The Iraqis here and where I sit in Baghdad, they're listening to this piece of news and they can't believe it. This is a very urban society. This Iraq is a very urbanized, very educated sort of people, and they can't believe what they are hearing.
Right now, how much of this responsibility goes back to those very countries and elements that have been supporting, funding groups like ISIL?
Believe me, madam, if we don't declare a regional war joined by Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria, as well as the GCC country, we would never, supported by the international alliance, we will never be able to defeat this evil Islamic State, so-called. So it's until unless we declare this war. Unfortunately, there are still some countries like Turkey turning a blind eye to ISIS, smuggling oil to the black market in Turkey, and they're selling a lot of oil, Iraqi oil and Syrian oil. They're selling some antiques. They're selling, and they're generating a lot of revenues. You know, money is the oxygen which help ISIS and terrorism in general to breathe. And until and unless we suffocate them, we strangle this, and we stop this oxygen going to terrorism, we will never be able to stop this terrorism. And also the ineffectiveness of the airstrikes the international alliance is doing. Also not sharing with us, Iraqis, the intelligence they're having, and the reluctance, the lack of strategy in Washington is really puzzling us. We don't know whether they are coming or they're going. Where do they stand vis-a-vis Iraq as well as Syria? They need to synchronize their policies on both sides of the border. There is no borders now. It's only imaginary line. And they're considering it two fights, two different battlefields. Well, it is one battlefield, it's one enemy, and they need to be really serious in delivering arms to the weaponry and ammunition and planning and analysis and intelligence sharing, all sorts of things. The international alliance and the United States government need to be serious about helping Iraq in its effort, because Iraq is leading the international effort in fighting this evil Islamic State. And I believe we're really confused from when I sit in Baghdad. We look at what's happening in DC. We can't see a unified policy, unified strategy, and we see them dithering, we see them reluctant, we see them conflicting signals giving us, So we need a very clear signal from the international alliance, from NATO, from the United States government that we are helping us. They're helping us, and the way we would like it to be. And the number of airstrikes, for example, is abysmal on anti-ISIS.
All right, let's leave it there for now. That's Muwafaq al-Rubai, former Iraqi National Security Advisor, joining us via Skype from Baghdad. Mr. Rubai, thank you very much indeed for your comments here on Press TV.